Very good. I just want to remind everybody that the schedule for today and tomorrow and the upcoming weeks is at elcolesigue.tv. Before we get started with your session, Katrina, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll add your screen as well to the transmission?
Yeah. Well, originally I'm from Seattle, Washington. This is something that comes from where I am. I don't know if I was supposed to give that away, but I have lots of things.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness.
Where I am. So that's a little bit about myself. My coffee is here today. That is definitely a requirement these days.
Absolutely.
And yes, I have two little ones at home, and I've been designing English curriculum for several years. But I live here in Guadalajara, Mexico, and I've been working with EFL and schools that are trying to reach the goal of being bilingual. And so we work on the English side, but we also know Spanish and can see some of the things that play into that. And we work now with tons of teachers. So any teachers watching us today from Best Academy, we say hi and thank you for joining Nivela today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Katrina, your screen is shared, so if you want to put your presentation on, then I'll
Great.
add it.
I will go ahead. Okay.
Yep, we can see it.
So I have been, yeah, go ahead.
No, we can see your screen, so I'm going to go ahead and step back, but I'll be here for questions.
Awesome. Okay. I have been here working with Google Tools for a while as well, and so we wanted to see what we could adapt today for young learners specifically. So if you're a teacher of upper grades, you can as well see probably some tips that you could modify and adapt to your own classrooms. But we want to think about young learners today and what kinds of expectations, what kinds of things they can do, and how they learn. So transferring all of our classroom abilities and our environment onto the screen can be a little bit challenging for, say, a kindergarten teacher, because we don't think like that in the beginning. We think about being with our students in a space together. So today I would like to open our minds. We're going to go very, very simple today. It's not about having to dominate a million things or knowing how to be very precise with all of our Google tools, but it is about changing our mindset first in our expectations, like we were talking about that. We have little kids at home, and it is not the same. It's not even the same environment, and this whole situation wasn't anything necessarily planned. So as teachers, and I'm talking to specifically young teachers today, think about what your students can already do, their capabilities. What can they do? How much do they actually really get in front of a screen without school involved? It can be a touch screen, it can be a tablet, it can be mom's cell phone. What do they already kind of instinctively, because they've grown up with this technology since babies, more than we have, way more than we have, what can they already do with it? Also, what can parents guide? Because if we talk about young learners, we talk about supervision. We're not expecting the young learner to be in front of a screen by themselves. So what can parents do? So parents are a different generation. How can they guide their kids in simple activities? So before we even think about class online, let's think about expectations and capabilities of our parents and our students first. And then how do we as teachers guide them in using those tools? Apart from that, we know that we have all the content to cover. So that's the idea today, is to show a couple of ways we can cover some of our content by creating it with some Google tools that allow us to assess, allow us to present, and allow us to give a little more interaction than just a watch this video, right? So we're trying to also steer away from things that are too hard. So either too hard for you as a teacher or too hard for parents supervising. If there are 10 million steps to putting up this Google homework, like on Google Classroom, it might be too frustrating for some parents in the beginning. So let's not start there. Let's start with something super simple. How can I use something really, really simple? So Think about what could be too much for our students. What attention span do they have? So if we're in the live video or we're interacting, how long do we really need to have an effective time? I've been hearing some schools trying to test out, well, in the classroom, we have 2 hours of class. So, okay, we need 2 hours on screen time. And I'm thinking like, no, don't start there. Wait a second, because it isn't the same. And if you think about how you learn online now, these days, there's a few other interactions and dynamics that happen. Think about our reality. We get interrupted like every 10 minutes, really. So if we could think about, okay, what would be a better way to design these activities? Maybe smaller time slots. How can we pace out our activities better online? Make it a 1-2 step thing. Can they even do a 2-step thing? Make it a variety of activities, not the same, okay, watch this video and then record your response and post it on Classroom. How can we make a variety of different interactions? And how do you slowly introduce? Maybe our things are just not simple enough for young learners, and that's where we might be stuck as a teacher. I see all these cool things, and actually, if you're like me right now, you are inundated, you are overwhelmed with all of the tools available online and all these things you can do. There are so many things we can do, so how do you filter down to what you need in this moment? It's a hard thing to do. I know it's overwhelming, but do you need 10 steps to turn in an assignment? Probably not the place to start. How much parent involvement is needed with that assignment? I'm doing assignments at home with my little kids. And is it always going to be do it in your notebook, take a photo, and post it on Classroom? Is there other ways we can work with that? Probably. And purpose and objectives. How do you need to adjust your activities, adjust your objectives, and adjust your learning environment? Are we spending more time turning something in with the 10 steps than actually learning something with it? Just food for thought as we are looking at being online with our classes. And so today I have a couple of tools to show you that are some simple GSuite options. We're not going very much further than this. I'll add a couple of little tips of extensions and things we can use for this, but we're gonna look at these mainly 2 things today, slides and forms. And then in Meet, I just wanted a reflection today of how, because Meet is a video tool, I know some of you might not have all that access, but think of your video calls and what the live time is for and how effective can it be with you. Is an hour effective with young learners in front of a screen on a video call? How is their attention span? So we'll get to that in a second, but first I want to start out with some practical things about Google Slides. So we can use more than just take a photo and put it up. We can, and more than just a YouTube video posting or a song for a kindergarten class. We can think about these things though before we start. So with slides with little ones, and also if you're a teacher who teaches older grades, you can totally think of how to adapt this for older grades, right? So today I'm presenting for younger grades. A lot of times the reverse happens. All these kindergarten and primary teachers have to think of how to adapt something really, really big and lots of text for somebody really, really small. Well, today, think of the reverse if you're in the other position. So basic movements. And we're gonna go to basic things in slides too. I'm not here to show you the wonders of it all, but there is wonders and all of the interactions, but I'm gonna show you one technique that could help you develop your own content. First, think of the things here. Can my students use text? Can they not? Can they read? Can they write? Can they type? Or they can't? Think of what their capabilities are before we design an activity. Can they drag and drop? Most toddlers almost can. So with help of their parent, they might be able to use a slide. Can they change a color? Can they not? Can they draw a line? Can you show them how to use 2 basic tools and slides to respond so that you can send the slides over Google Classroom and make a copy for everybody? Can they insert an image or can they not? So I'm gonna get out of this so I can actually show you what I'm talking about. And I made an example one here. This is my little slide. I did it probably in 10 minutes or less. And I had a couple of add-ons for you, but to adapt something interactive for really little kids, I'm gonna just take a topic because we need to cover content. Most of the time in English especially, we're covering vocabulary topics. So we're looking at the ocean, or we're looking at food, or we're looking at greetings, pets, farm animals, you know, things like that, things that have vocabulary topics. So I just took this one. It looked cool for the background, and I'm gonna show you how I did it. First, let me show you the activity. The idea would be that the students could actually drag and drop. So I made one slide with the activity, which should take 2 seconds for them, maybe a couple more. And I made one slide with a video of instructions. And this did not take me long. I will show you how to do it. So this is more even for the parent.
Hi there. I want you to put the small fish into the basket. You have big fish and small ones. And all of the small fish need to go into the basket. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.
So I made them an even instructional video using Screencastify really fast. If you're familiar with that tool, I'll show you in a sec if you need to see it. But I also just really quickly designed the background and then found images right here from slides that I could paste on. I even added a little voice note for the instructions too.
Put the small fish into the basket.
Okay. So I have a voice instruction. I have instructions down here at the bottom. Put the small fish into the basket. We've heard that now a million times. I think something we sometimes miss about going online for little ones is instructions need to be clear, visual, and evident for parents and for kids. So I have instructions everywhere on these 2 slides. I have audio, I have, depending on my purpose, I can change it. Maybe I don't want any text. Maybe I want the kids to only hear me, not even see me, and I only want them to listen, click the listen button, hear me, and follow the instruction, right? Maybe I have older students and I do want to add text. So I add a text box right here where they have to either label small fish or type something in. I can also do that as well. And so the ability here is only like a drag and drop feature for the students, something a parent can help with. I only want them to drag the small fish and put them into this basket. So we can create this with tons of different content. If you have a topic you're seeing and you want a quick exercise that is not the same, and this is going to give you variety for not the same, draw a picture and take a photo. This could help you with something different, right? And it's very easy to make. So I'm going to show you how to make a different one and this I can send right out over Google Classroom again. It makes an automatic copy for all the students. So we're going to create another one. I'm going to go do a new presentation and show you how that was created. I'm going to get rid of my text boxes because I'm using really, really little kids. And I'm going to do a different topic so you can see something different. Okay, so I'll get rid of my text boxes and my themes. And for my background, I can actually choose it and it will stay in the background. It won't move. How you change your background in slides, which you've probably seen here a million times this week, but in case you're new to this presentation or you wanted to hear it in English, you can go to background. I'll show you where that is again. It's right here, change background. You can click on a color and make the whole background a different color if I want. So say I made it that color. Or I can choose an image and I can make that image my background. Like in the previous slide, I made the actual background an image of the sea. Now, if you don't have an image that you already have stored on your computer or your Google Drive, or in your photos, this gives you so many options here to choose where you pull an image from. And I can do a Google image search. That's what I did for the previous slide, super easy. So you can put in here, we're gonna do dining table because I'm gonna talk about food. And this will pull up images I can use, right? So I'm gonna pull up some sort of plain dining table that's like easy to put something on. So this one is plain. And I insert that as an image to my background, and it will change my background to that image. I can't click on it, I can't move it, and my kids won't be able to either. Okay, so this is just an example. And then what else do I want them to do? If I want to create a simple drag and drop, I can also go to this button to explore and add images, or insert up here to add images, where I can search the web for them as well. So either way you can look for them. If you click this button down here to explore, you can search different, this will search everywhere for you, in your drive, in Google, and it will pull up images you can use. So for this particular one, I'm gonna try to pull up some clip art. I don't want a photo. If you noticed in my previous ones, the fish didn't have like this white background on them because they were vectorized. So I can pull up pictures by, let's just pull up one thing of food. Maybe we want strawberries. Strawberry, and I'm gonna put clip art because that narrows my search a little bit down. And here it's gonna pull up web from my drive, and this middle one called images, where I already can select image. If it's not gonna let me select a certain image, it'll tell me as I make the clicks. But say I'm gonna click this strawberry, it'll ask me to insert it. And if you notice on this one here that has the checkerboard background, that means there's no white background on it. It's all cut out already, it's vectorized. So if you look for those types of images, it makes it easier. And I can put my strawberry, it'll put it right up here for me on the screen. Might take a second to load. There's my strawberry. And I'm gonna make it smaller so you can adjust the size. And I'm gonna put it on my table. Now I have where it came from down there, like where it's pulling it from, and I can actually click this little button that says remove link, and it won't show up anymore. So there I have my strawberry that's movable on top of my table. So you could create a plate on the table and then say put the healthy food on the plate, and have options like these ones over here to choose from, and place several different types of clip art or images on there. And the instruction, think again of the capabilities of your students. Can they type text? Can they not? Can they just drag and drop? With this one, you can just drag and drop. And so that's an idea. Or maybe I want them to label. If I can have them type and they're a little older, so say they're in 4th grade, 5th grade, and they could learn to type. Me as a teacher, I can create a text box here that's already established. So all they do is click inside the text box and they're gonna put the name of the food. So I would probably, in this case, not leave the text box like that, because if I click outside of it, you can't see the box. And I want them to know I need them to write in the boxes. So I would put a background to this text box of a different color. Up here, I have my fill color, and I could make it gray or white so that they can just type text right in here. If they click on here later, they could label the food for you. So you could do this lots of different ways. You can create lots of different things. Let me show you how I created my voice recording. It's with an extension. So if you want to quickly create voice recordings, there's a Google extension called Audio. This is just one of them. I'm sure there's better ones and more you can use, but I used this one very quickly, very basic. You add the extension, I already have it, onto your Chrome, and you find it in the Chrome web store. You can search for it. It's called Audio Voice Recorder Pro. What it does is it will automatically, if I open it, here I have my little speaker, but I already have it open here on the side. This is all that you see, and you can just start recording right here. So I'm going to record. Please label the strawberry recording. So this recording,
strawberry, type in the text in the box below.
Did it right there. It's 8 seconds, and I can click download. Now with this extension, I haven't necessarily found the way that it will save it right to my Google Drive so I can pull it into the slides. But I can download it to my computer right here. And then I can either upload it onto Drive quite easily, or I can insert it into my slides by inserting audio. If you insert an audio file over here, I go back to my slide presentation, insert an audio track, and I can, oh, I'm sorry, it's only letting me pull from my drive. I can put it on my drive, my Google Drive, and I can select that audio and put it right onto my slide, and it'll create a little button for me, this audio button. This was my previous one from the fish. I would have to go through the steps, but it would let me put the audio right there. And then I could also leave my instructions in the speaker notes. I could make a box of instructions right here, or I could create another slide, a new slide, and I could label it instructions. So like I did with the previous one with the fish, I simply recorded a couple seconds of myself doing the video over here using Screencastify. So I'm sure you've had a lot of tutorials about Screencastify, but all you have to do is click on Screencastify, and I was able to allow it to record my browser, my window, and embed my webcam so my students saw me. So it just depends on the purpose of the instruction. How much EFL do you need? How much English learning do you need out of this type of exercise? You can modify whether they hear you only, read you only, or you want to put a video so they see you as well speaking in English. And that's really helpful like I did before. I recorded me right here with a little recording, and then I was able to insert it right here by clicking on video, going to my Google Drive, where Screencastify automatically saves it for you, and I clicked on the instructional video that I needed. So those are a couple ways you can insert a couple of instructional methods. You can look at the different ways within EFL to accommodate your instructions, depending on what you're looking for in your outcome, right? So if you started with something really simple like this, you could get really complex and have different text, move different things around. You could have some of them where it's audio only, no instructions down here for even parents, and they would have to really listen for the English instructions. And you could really beef this up. You could make it really elaborate for older kids, not just drag and drop. So I hope that gives you a different idea of what you can do with a slide for some of your activities that's not just photo onto Google Classroom, and for little students, right? Okay, so we're gonna move on. I'm gonna go back to my presentation, and we're gonna move on to a different way we can adapt for young learners with a different GSuite app, which is Forms. Forms is an amazing tool that all of us know, and some of us think it's only for older kids. So let's think about what our kids can or cannot do. Can they select? Can they type text? Can they insert an image? Can you show them how to insert an image and practice? Can they recognize language errors? Because once you get to upper primary, you might be able to insert more than just a grammar type quiz, but can they select what would be a correct response to something? Can they express themselves well, or are they not talking yet? Think of your expectations and your abilities with your group. What can they or can they not do? What kind of technology have they already been adapted to, and what have they not? So we're going to look at an example of a form you could use. Does not have to be for an exam. A lot of times we look at forms as just looking at an exam. And maybe it's to present something and then also ask questions and see where they're at. Maybe not to give them a grade. Maybe it's to see if they really got the information you were presenting. So this is one I previously made about food. We have here, it was done kind of in mind for first grade, more or less. And talking about nutrition and junk food and healthy food. So I'm taking that as a vocabulary topic, and I posted a quick YouTube video. And I asked them to watch it and remember that describes healthy food and junk food. Then I'm going to give them a series of questions. Can they classify? Can my students classify healthy food and junk food? Can they label some foods? Do they know the names in English? So what kind of foods are these? Can they select? Maybe you can put something on here that would be extremely evident for them. Again, we're going to go to super simple. For young learners, we don't want a ton of options at the same time. We want 2 or 3 maybe, depending on the age. We can design that as well in the form of images. Which foods are considered healthy? So they can either click here on the image, or they can click on the little square. Either one works. That's okay for little kids to do because they could click and unclick. Can they click and unclick? Do they have that? So I'm going to go to the next section we created, which is, I think, the last one. And it gives you some examples of this form again. Can they add a file? Or can their parents? Can you show them how? Can you give them a quick instructional with a screencastify that shows them how to upload a file from their computer to this? Or maybe not, then don't do it. We don't want to be frustrating for these parents. Can you attach a picture of your favorite healthy food? Okay, and can you record yourself in a video and then put it up there? So this is not necessarily a graded quiz from forms. This is just, can you interact with me a little bit? Can I see if you understood classification of foods? So again, we're adjusting content. Let me show you how to do a couple of these things on here that you can make yourself, and maybe you just want one thing. So one thing I would recommend with forms for young learners is, yes, use the section button. I know that's not something we first introduced when we talk about forms, is the sections, but I think less is more. So I'm going to do, again, the sea animals, and I am going to give simple instructions. And then in our options here, if you make a click on the boxes you're creating for the questionnaire, you can actually, if you see this icon appears, to insert an image. So remember, for small learners, I think the more visual, the better. And the more simple on the screen at one time, the better. Don't get too complicated and have these. That's why I would say that use the section feature. So what animals can you find in the sea? And then here, octopus. Right here with add image, I have the same abilities, if I click on it, to search for the Google image right here in Forms. I don't have to go open a new window, search for an octopus that I like that has this to use it, and then download it and then upload it again to my drive, etc., and then connect it to the form. I don't have to go through a million steps. I can search right here for an octopus, and I can put it as one of the actual options. Look at all these beautiful octopus. I get octopi, you're supposed to say. Here, I'll use one down here and insert my image. There's my octopus, he's cute. Then I'm gonna put 3 more options just so you see that the form, when you look at it right now, is gonna have the options in a row. But once it comes out to the students, it'll be that square box with the 4 options, and it's a little bit more visually appealing and easier to look at, easier to categorize. So let's do a starfish. And we're gonna, again, add an image. It gives me the option right here to add my image, search for a starfish, and add an image that I like. So I'll put that one in there. And it's also, if you notice, putting the images kind of at the same size. I don't have a huge starfish image here and a tiny octopus over here. It's really adapting things for the size of my formatting, and it's really, really nice. Now, another thing to mention is you can do this option of imaging and also multiple choice. So you can select an image for the multiple choice type of ones. If only one answer is correct, you want to use the multiple choice. If you are going to ask for categorizing things, like I did in the food one, you want to use the check boxes because then they can check more than one option as being correct or in that category. Okay, so for option 3, I don't want to add a sea animal. I'm going to add a land animal because I want them to be able to show me they know the difference. And I'm going to put in a zebra, and lovely zebras. We're going to take this animal and insert it into our form. And then for the last one, and I like the number 4, the even numbers, just put them up in kind of those boxes side by side, the grid view. That's really nice to look at for a young one. Now, for a really young student, I would not do more than 4 options like this. Even for younger students in kindergarten or maternal, like really young nursery school, I might even just do 2 options because that's their capability, depending on where your students are at. If I'm working with 10-year-olds, of course I could add options with descriptions. I could be way more, just depending on the content. So remember, GSuite allows us to develop our own content inside these tools, and this is the whole point. So if you're working on something with more elaborate content or a more broad science topic, for example, about categorizing the types of foods, where does our food come from, types of animals, categorizing animals and classifying animals, you could really make this detailed as to invertebrates and types of invertebrates and crustaceans and see who can classify what where. And there are more options for that. So that is kind of really cool. So here I'm going to add a shark. Every kindergarten student loves a shark, to see a big, nice jaws in their face when they open something. Again, the images here and the visual spacing, I think, here's a nice big teethy shark, is really, really nice. And then once you have all your options up, you can click the preview button up here and you'll see how it's beginning to look for your students. So see how it transformed it into the grid view. So now I have to only click on the ones that I'm going to use, and I can click on the photo, which a young child can do. They can click right on the photo, or you can click on this box if you need to. It doesn't matter. Both would work. So that's one way you can start doing exercises inside Google Forms that would help you adapt content for a young learner. So I'm trying to watch my time here because I probably have to go on to another thing before we're done here, because I was going to mention a couple of other tips. I'm going to go back to my presentation and talk about when we have live calls. So I'll do that really quickly in 5 minutes and mention another app that I found really, really helpful, or another add-on as well, if we have time. But when you're doing video calls with little ones, please remember some time distribution. And if I don't know if my screen is up there, if you can see me on the video, because I'm only looking at my presentation. Dominique, do you know if I am shown in the video right now? Because I was going to show some props. If not, I can show later.
No, do you want to be? Because I can definitely have you there with your presentation, no problem.
Yeah, you can put it on for just a sec.
Okay.
And I'm going to get rid of my blanket because it's like 90 degrees in Mexico. It is hot in here. But when you do video with littles, and make sure you have props prepared. Make sure you have something here, their favorite story with movables. You can deconstruct and put together your favorite Lego thing. Say that you ask them to all grab their Legos in their house really quickly and construct their favorite animal. Say that you ask them to quickly go find something in their house, and we'll see an example of this with Flipgrid in a second, and bring it to you and show you on the screen. How can you make things a bit more interactive and not just teacher lecturing to toddlers? How can you pull in different whackables and different things that you might have on hand that are images, reading, or have them bring you their favorite book and share with everyone what their favorite book would be and what their favorite page in the book is. Try to think of activities, though, that if everyone is going to take individual time to participate, are like 5-second activities in the participation. Because if you're on a screen with 20, 25 kids, having them each say something can take an hour. So think about the timing and the kind of how you would plan out and adjust that. How can everyone participate at the same time? That isn't necessarily everyone talking at the same time, and isn't everyone taking their turn all the time. Make varieties with that. So maybe everybody, their homework would be they need to make their own pom-pom. So whenever they're going to say yes or do a cheer for everyone, you can say, okay, everybody cheer with your pom-poms. And then everybody brings them out and uses a prop and has a couple of props that they make for their own videos when they're on screen time with you. How can you also have them do stepped activities on the screen? Think again about adjusting. Don't give them 10 instructions at one time while you're on the screen. And have also these props prepared. It's going to take you time if I have to go run and get my little Lego ducky and then come back. Wait 1 second. And then I come back and I have my ducky. that takes away screen time and you lost attention from those kids for a few minutes. That could have been super valuable. So think of other things. Can your students use or not use headphones? 2-year-olds on a screen with us for 2 seconds to say hi. There, I would recommend the social time is more valuable than anything. If you have a video call with your kindergarten class, the social interaction, just seeing your face, hi, what's your favorite color? Can I see your everybody run and grab their pet and show me their dog. If you can find a way that everyone does something at once and then comes back to converge and you see all the little faces with their dogs, that was probably quicker than one by one saying, hi, Jimena, how are you today? Although that has value, I'm not saying it doesn't. It's extremely valuable. Don't get me wrong. You're not on a call for an hour with 2-year-olds. That doesn't work. You don't even have the attention span for an hour online. So how are they? And their mind is gone after 3 seconds. You know that from the classroom. Think of their attention span. Think if they could use headphones. Think of how many instructions. So I'm going to show you something with Flipgrid. Now, I'm sure you've seen Flipgrid for a long time. This is one adaptation of a Flipgrid. I did it in 5 minutes, literally, or less, where I just adapting, again, the instructional content for young learners. It's not for old learners, and please explain to me 5 minutes, blah, 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 how you're feeling, wonderful things. But I did this Flipgrid, which remember, Flipgrid is a tool where it's a video that you record and you leave posted for each other inside a classroom. It's like your virtual classroom where you post videos to each other, you know? And so here, this is an adapted activity just for colors. Super simple. Find something that's purple and show it to me. Describe it in 3 nice sentences. An excellent tool here is this button. Immersive reader. If I click this button, it will actually read the instructions aloud for me and put the text right here. So if you have EFL learners, this button is marvelous. You can click the play.
Find something that is purple and show it to me. Describe it in 3 nice sentences. Example, my ball is purple.
Okay. You can also, here there are settings for this to make it talk faster, slower. Everyone would have to adjust it for themselves. But this tool right here from Flipgrid for EFL learners is the best because they're seeing the text and hearing it read to them in a native voice. And it is the example. So I give an example and then I record myself here. I'm not going to show you my video, but I give an example with my video saying, this is my purple thing, my purple pom-pom. And I love it. It is soft. It is fluffy. And so if you're looking for things they can do, think of also what is the sentence structure they can do well? What are we going to do well here? They can dominate these 3 types of sentences to describe something, use it, and they can record a video. Kids love it. And in Flipgrid, they can put their little emojis on the video. And you look and review all their videos. Their classmates can see their videos of each other speaking with this. So you get some interaction going that's not just take a photo and put it up again. So I wanted to present to you a few things very fast today of how to adjust content for young learners, especially in kindergarten. And thank you for your participation and your attendance to Nivel A today and elcolesigue, because I think for a lot of kindergarten teachers, we got stuck, especially in that age range of, whoa, how do we take this online? And I hope that you found something helpful or adaptable for you. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Yep. There we are. And I have my pom-pom. But I want to thank you for your time, and I hope you found something that easy, simple, you can adapt with.
Yeah, we had a couple of questions, Katrina. Thank you so much. I found this super useful just to see some ways that we can use the GSuite tools we already have, but adapt them for younger learners. We saw, what was the name of the extension for the audio that you shared?
Yeah, then extension, you can find it on the web store, is Audio Voice Recorder Pro.
Okay.
I'll type it. I have a box here. Do you want me to type it in?
Sure, you can type it in the chat. And if not, we can put it in there later as well. We have another question from Liliana, who was with us on on YouTube. She said, how do we look for cropped images?
Well, cropped images
Yeah,
I might not be the best expert on that. You might know more than me, but I know how to crop everything inside.
I think that was actually what the question was, because I answered you can insert images within Google Slides is what you were showing us. And then I believe from there you cropped it correctly.
Yes, you can definitely. There is a crop button. If you select your image inside Slides, you have a crop button in the little menu bar. And if you click the crop button, you can adjust the sides in order to make the edges less or more.
Yes, very good. And then we have another Anne-Marie. She joined us on YouTube. And she was just asking, so I'm going to answer this. How do we find this specific video? She was asking if this is going to be recorded. Yes, all of our videos, all of these webinars over every week, they are on our YouTube channel. They will be recorded or named, Anne-Marie, by episode name. So this one will be, you'll see adapting tools for young learners. Because the entire broadcast today is 4 hours, but you might just want to watch this session. So we're cutting them all after the day is over. So just be patient with us and they'll be up soon. But thank you so much, Katrina, for sharing your expertise with us. If anybody wants to reach out or have questions, you can always, it's info@nivel.la. And so you can just reach out there, and then you can also just follow us on social media. Katrina, I'm going to let you say hi to Lula and Silvia. Antes que nos vamos, para saludarnos todos y ya.
Hola. Hola, Katrina.
Lula.
¿Cómo están?
Hola, Lula y Silvia. Muy bien, gracias. ¿Ustedes? Sí hablo español.
Muy bien. Hola, Silvia. ¿Cómo estás? Bien. Thank you. Sí. Thank you very much, Katrina. It was very enriching.
Okay.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. Ya nos vamos, Katrina y yo.
Okay, bye. Hola, Silvia, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás, Lula? Qué gusto saludarte.
Muy bien, también. Qué gusto volverte a tener por acá, ahora con hojas de cálculo, ¿verdad?
Sí, me encanta manejar las hojas de cálculo. Y bueno, la idea era pensar en que tenemos que estar registrando y monitoreando el progreso de los estudiantes y entonces cada quien va a su paso, ya no es el día, las fechas van cambiando, las fechas de entrega se hacen muy variables y tenemos que tener mucha tolerancia, mucha paciencia con los niños, tener comunicación con los papás. Entonces, para mí era una locura ir monitoreándolo. Entonces, diseñé una plantilla que espero que les sirva, que les saquen provecho y de paso vamos a aprovechar a aprender herramientas de las hojas de cálculo.
Perfecto, me parece muy bien. Déjame, mientras nos vas compartiendo tu pantalla, voy a poner un videíto y regresamos para empezar.